Chapter 25 Hawkwing's Journey. Hawkwing limped along at the rear of his clan. His leg ached terribly, but he forced himself to keep going. Almost a moon had passed since he had injured himself falling from the tree, and his leg was mostly better, but they had been walking since dawn, and now it was past sun high. Leafstar would call for a rest break if I asked her to, Hawkwing thought, but I can keep going for now. If Plumwillow can do it. He was ready to suffer through his pain if we would get them to their new home faster. I hope we find it before Plumwillow kits, or failing that, before Pebbleshine does. Plumwillow's belly was huge now. She was close to the time of her kitting, but she kept up with her clanmates and never complained. Pebbleshine often walked beside her, encouraging her, and Curlypaw did her best to make sure that both she-cats had prey. Hawkwing was prouder of his apprentice with every day that passed. Her energy, her commitment to the clan, and the way she made sure every cat was fed before she took fresh kill for herself. But fresh kill was hard to come by on their journey. Every cat was tired, sore-pawed, and thinner than they had been when they lived in the gorge. Life had become an endless round of sleeping, travelling, and hunting. Though Leafstar still took the lead, encouraging her clan onward, she looked wearier with every day that passed, and Hawkwing sometimes detected doubt in her eyes. Surely our leader can't be losing her faith that StarClan will guide us. On the worst days, Hawkwing struggled to keep his own hope alive that soon they would find ThunderClan, and sensed that his clanmates were struggling too. StarClan hadn't sent Echo Song any more visions, so there was nothing to do but trek onward, and trust they were heading in the right direction. But when each nightfall found SkyClan still wandering around in the darkness, it became harder to hold on to that trust. Sometimes, at night, Hawkwing had heard Leafstar and Waspwhisker talking together in low, anxious tones. A hollowness opened up inside Hawkwing as he listened. If the clan leader and the deputy don't know what to do, what hope is there for the rest of us? And why is StarClan putting us through all this? Still, Hawkwing reflected, SkyClan had become even closer, more tightly bound together as they travelled, each cat depending on the others. Now he could see MacGyver letting a tired Clovertail lean against his shoulder as they walked, and everywhere cats were meowing quietly and peacefully to each other. Maybe that's why StarClan is letting our journey take so long, Hawkwing thought, so that we learn how much we need each other. Pebbleshine dropped back to pad alongside Hawkwing, brushing her tail along his pelt. Hawkwing blinked at her affectionately. I'm so glad our kits will be born in this clan, he mewed. So am I, Pebbleshine purred. There can't be a better clan anywhere. Coming to the top of a rise, the cats looked out across a wide valley, with the dens of a small two-leg place near the bottom. We'll take a break here, Leafstar announced. We need to be fed and rested before we tackle that two-leg place down there. She led the way a few fox lengths down the slope to where a stretch of gorse and bramble gave shelter from the wind and some hope of prey. Plumwillow and Clovertail flopped down there with sighs of relief. We'll hunt for you, Bellyleaf meowed, pouting up to the two she-cats with her brother Rileypool at her shoulder. And I'll catch something for you, Curlypool promised Pebbleshine. The speckled she-cat flicked Curlypool's ear with the tip of her tail. Thank you, she responded, but I'm not so big yet that I can't help hunt for myself. Come on, Hawkwing, let's all go together. And me, Blossomheart added. Waspwhisker joined them as well, and Hawkwing's spirits lifted as he and his friends crept into the undergrowth. Jaws parted to taste the air for prey. This is almost like a hunting patrol in the forest above the gorge. Venturing deeper into the bushes, Hawkwing and the others spread out in their search. Hawkwing picked up the strong scent of a rabbit and followed it along a narrow path between brambles. Finally, he spotted the creature lolloping ahead of him, its white tail bobbing up and down. Hawkwing kept pace with it, 2 or 3 fox lengths behind, until it halted, sniffing at something on the ground. Glancing back, Hawkwing saw that Blossomheart and Curlypaw were both within sight. He beckoned to them, signing to them for silence. Circle around, he whispered, gesturing with his tail. Come at it from the other side, and I'll drive it toward you. Curlypaw nodded, her eyes gleaming with excitement, and slid through the undergrowth in one direction, while Blossomheart veered off in the other. While Hawkwing waited for them to get into position, he was painfully reminded of his last hunt with his father, when he and Sharpclaw had cooperated just like this. With an effort, he pushed the memory away, forcing himself to concentrate on this rabbit and his clanmates' need for fresh kill. Finally, Hawkwing spotted movement in the undergrowth on the other side of the rabbit, which told him Curlypaw and Blossomheart were ready. Letting out a fearsome meow, Hawkwing pelted forward, heading for his prey. The rabbit sat erect, terror in its bulging eyes. Then it took off. But instead of making for Blossomheart and Curlypaw, it doubled back until Hawkwing thought it was going to run right into his own claws. As Hawkwing reached for it, the rabbit veered aside, and Hawkwing spotted the entrance to a burrow among the roots of a nearby gorse bush. "No!" he screeched. He made a frantic pounce, landing awkwardly and jarring his injured leg, so the pain jolted right up to his ribs. But it was too late. With the last flash of its white tail, the rabbit plunged into the hole and vanished. "Fox stung," Hawkwing snarled, lashing his tail in frustration. "This is what happens when we hunt in strange territory," he thought, clawing furiously at the ground. "The prey knows the terrain, but we don't." Blossomheart and Curlypaw reappeared, both of them looking disappointed. "Never mind," Blossomheart was clearly trying to sound cheerful. "We'll find something else." But no more prey showed itself as they made their way through the undergrowth, until they emerged on the hillside again, where they came upon Wasp-Whisker and Pebbleshine. "I caught the shrew," Pebbleshine meowed, giving her prey a disdainful prod. "But it's a scrawny little thing. It's hardly a mouthful." "Better than nothing," Hawkwing responded, brushing his pelt against hers. "Bury it, and we'll pick it up on the way back." While Pebbleshine scraped earth over the shrew, Hawkwing glanced around, realizing they had come out of the thicket much closer to the two-leg place. Further down the hill, a line of bushes separated them from the first of the dens. "We might try down there," Wasp-Whisker suggested. Hawkwing wasn't too keen on going so close to the two-leg place, but he realized there was a lot of sense in the clan deputy's suggestion. "I probably scared off all the prey up here, screeching at that rabbit." Wasp-Whisker led the way down the slope to the bushes, but when they reached them, there were too many competing scents: the acrid tang of monsters and a thunderpuff, traces of dogs and two-legs, and more that Hawkwing couldn't even identify. "This is hopeless," Blossomheart mewed. "Let's go back." Pebbleshine had slipped further into the bushes, and now she glanced over her shoulder, her eyes gleaming. "Come look at this." Hawkwing slid through the branches to her side and saw a wide stretch of ground in front of him, covered with the same hard black surface as a thunderpath. Several monsters crouched there, and at one side a thunderpath led away. Beyond the monsters loomed the grey walls of a two-leg den. "It's a kind of monster camp," Pebbleshine whispered. Wasp-Whisker poked his head through the branches just behind them. "What are you playing at?" he demanded. "Get away from there." "It's okay," Pebbleshine responded. "All the monsters are asleep, and there's a really interesting smell coming from that one." She angled her ears toward a monster at the edge of the camp. It had a big platform jutting out of its back, with low sides, and something shiny resting inside it. Hawkwing drew air over his scent glands and realized what Pebbleshine meant. The smell coming from the monster was rich and appetizing. "It smells like prey, but how can it be on the back of a monster?" Wasp-Whisker scented it too. "Okay, let's take a look," he meowed. "But keep watch for two legs, and if the monsters start to wake up, get out of here fast." He took the lead as the three cats ventured into the open. Blossomheart and Curlypaw followed a few paces behind them. Curlypaw's eyes stretched wide, half excited and half afraid. Hawkwing realized she had never been so close to monsters before. As he drew nearer, Hawkwing could hear clucking noises coming from the back of the monster. The shiny things he had seen from the bushes were some kind of weird nest. "There are birds in there," he gasped. "And they're trapped," Pebbleshine added. "There must be some kind of two-leg prey." "That's just what they are," Wasp-Whisker told the younger cats. "They're called chickens. Some two-legs near the gorge used to keep them." "Are they good to eat?" Curlypaw asked. Wasp-Whisker swiped his tongue around his jaws. "Oh yes," he mewed. For a few heartbeats, the cats stood still, staring at the clucking, feathery mass of chickens. Hawkwing felt even hungrier as the succulent smell flowed over him. "You know," Pebbleshine meowed, glancing warily around, "the monster is asleep, and there aren't any two-legs around. Why don't we—" "You're not suggesting we climb onto a monster's back?" Blossomheart interrupted, half intrigued and half scared. "Why not?" Hawkwing asked, with an admiring glance at Pebbleshine. "She's so brave. We could get enough fresh kill to feed the whole clan." Curlypaw gave an excited little bounce. "Just think of their faces when we get back." "We could do it." Hawkwing turned to the clan deputy. "What do you think, Wasp-Whisker?" For a moment, Wasp-Whisker still gazed thoughtfully at the monster. Then he nodded slowly. "Let's go for it. Hawkwing, you and Curlypaw keep watch. The rest of you, follow me." "I can climb up too," Hawkwing mewed before any cat could move. "No, I can tell your leg's hurting," Wasp-Whisker responded. "You're more use here on the ground." "Then Pebbleshine should stay here too." Hawkwing meowed. Yes, Pebbleshine, you have to be careful. Blossomheart agreed, while Wasp-Whisker nodded. Pebbleshine twitched the tip of her tail. I'm not big enough yet for it to make any difference, she protested. I can still run just as fast as the rest of you, and it was my idea. Okay, Wasp-Whisker sighed. Let's just get on with it before we all die of starvation. Hawkwing and Curlypaw watched anxiously as their 3 clanmates clambered onto the back of the monster. The harsh sound of their claws scraping against the monster's pelt made Hawkwing's neck fur rise with the strangeness of it. The gentle clucking of the chickens rose to an alarmed squawking, but to Hawkwing's relief the monster didn't wake up. It's amazing up here, Pebbleshine yowled. There are so many of these fat birds, and they're all just trapped here. If we can work out how to open the nests, we can feed the whole clan. Hawkwing crouched on the ground beside his apprentice, his heart pounding as the moments slid past. What's taking so long? He wondered, expecting at any moment to see his clanmates' heads pop back up. He tried to make sense of the sounds that were coming from the monster. The chicken squawks had risen to a terrified clamour, but he couldn't hear the cats at all. Then Hawkwing heard another noise, coming from the two-leg den beyond the monster camp. A moment later, a two-leg came into view, heading toward the monsters. Don't move, Hawkwing called out. A two-leg. Maybe the two legs will go to one of the other monsters, and he won't notice us, Curlypaw whispered. Let's hope so. But Hawkwing realised his hope was in vain, as the two-leg strode purposely toward the monster with the chickens. He's coming right towards us, he yelled. Get out of there now. At first there was no response from the cats inside the monster. The two-leg will wake it up, Hawkwing thought, agonised. Then they'll know we were trying to steal their prey. Hurry, he urged. Wasp-Whisker's head popped up from behind the low barrier at the back of the monster, and Blossomheart appeared a heartbeat later. Foxstung, Wasp-Whisker exclaimed, looking furiously disappointed, as he and Blossomheart scrambled over the barrier and leaped down to join Hawkwing and Curlypaw. Where's Pebbleshine? Hawkwing asked as they landed beside him. I'm still here. Pebbleshine replied from inside the monster, her words almost drowned out by louder squawking. I've managed to open one of the nests. I've got a chicken. Then get down here fast, Hawkwing responded. His gaze was fixed on the two-leg, who tramped across the hard surface of the monster camp, opened up the monster, and climbed into its belly. He didn't seem to have noticed the cats crouching a few tail lengths away from the monster's round black paws. Pebbleshine, now! Wasp-Whisker screeched. I'm coming, Pebbleshine sounded frustration, but this stupid bird is fighting. Then let it go, Hawkwing yelled. The clan needs it, Pebbleshine protested. More loud squawking followed, then Pebbleshine's forepaws appeared at the side of the monster. Hawkwing could see her face, and at the same moment the monster woke up with a deep-throated growl. Jump, Pebbleshine, jump! Blossomheart shrieked as she and Wasp-Whisker backed away. Hawkwing shoved Curlypaw after them and ran towards the monster. Just then the monster lurched into motion. Shock jolted through Hawkwing as its huge back paws rolled backward, threatening to crush him. The others scattered. Trembling, Hawkwing stood his ground. I won't run away while Pebbleshine is in danger. When the monster was a tail length away from Hawkwing, it halted. He crouched, ready to leap up beside Pebbleshine. With a louder roar and the belch of a stinking cloud from his hindquarters, the monster began to move forward, heading for the thunder puff. Hawkwing was too late. Pebbleshine, he screeched. He pushed off in an enormous leap, but he fell short, landing with a thump on the hard ground. His last sight of his mate was her scrambling at the side of the monster, only for the big brute to stumble and lurch, making Pebbleshine lose her grip and fall back down. She stared wide-eyed at Hawkwing, her mouth moving as if she was yowling something to him, but Hawkwing couldn't hear it over the roar of the monster. Putting out every scrap of his strength, Hawkwing curled himself forward in pursuit, but as the monster sped up, he realized it was hopeless. The gap between him and Pebbleshine grew wider and wider, and the monster roared down the thunder path until it disappeared in the distance.